All right, welcome in. It is Thursday. It is time for Total Bases. Two-man show again today with myself and Tokyo Brandon. Bryan Leonard will be back when he could be back. He had to go back to Ohio. So we hope everything is well with him. I probably should have looked to see how he did last night. I will try to do that throughout the show. I know I didn't have a great night, Tokyo Brandon. I gave it right back. Felt like the South Park meme where it's just, and it's gone. I had a 3-1 day on Tuesday and a 1-3 day yesterday. Literally just the 9 units I won on Tuesday, gave it right back yesterday. But I'm having a pretty good July. We're 2 days away from the end of the month, and it's been a pretty good month. So I think with a good day today and a good day tomorrow, I'll be pretty happy with how July went. Hopefully your night went better than mine did yesterday.
Yeah, I went 2-1. Bryan won his 5% play. He had the Dodgers against Hancock. And I went 2-1. I loved the Rays yesterday, and they were never in doubt, basically. So that was a good one. And I just went 2-1 in the KBO as well. So I guess a 4-2 day overall. So yeah, pretty good. My month was really good. So yeah, you and I are still vying for number 2 among 33 cappers at WagerTalk. So we can't be doing too shabby. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. It's going good. Overall, MLB's actually, so for me, the month of July, amazingly, MLB's been my best market, which is not, it's not that it's not always the case, but we've talked about this before, you and I, both handicapping the smaller leagues. Long term, typically it's going to be a little bit easier to win in KBO or AAA. There's just they're more beatable, softer markets. So that's my sort of optimistic glass half full approach to to having a 1-3 day yesterday. Is July is, I think I'm up 13 or 14 units in the month of July, and it's almost all MLB units. I've actually given, it's probably more than that because I've given back in AAA a little bit and given back a little bit in KBO. So listen, you take the wins anywhere you can get them. We do this show 6 days a week to try to find you guys winners. And we'll start tonight, Tokyo Brandon, on national TV. It's Nationals. They're hitting the road to take on the Braves. Something that I want to bring up as we get ready to talk about the Nats, because this is something that you touched on earlier this year. I probably commented on it earlier this year. And there was a point in time, if you go back to April and May, where I think you would point it out. You could almost always get the Nationals team total at a very cheap price. It was like 1.5 runs, something like that. It was hitting like every day. You made a killing in the first couple months of the year if you were just betting the Nationals, whether it be the +1.5, the money line. They were way, way undervalued relative to what this team has become this year. I kind of think the pendulum swung a little bit. And I feel like I look at this number, see where they're priced, and I say to myself, a month or two ago, +1, you would have been able to get Nationals +1.5, probably like -110 in this matchup in this game. And now suddenly the option to take that +1.5 is pretty much gone, unless you want to pay some juice. You still get them as an underdog, but it's not as big of a price as it used to be. And I don't know that am I crazy to want to start to sell this Nationals team right now, Tokyo Brandon?
Okay, about my microphone, I made some changes. So Adam told me my voice was quiet. Now in the chat, you guys are telling me I'm too loud. So I give up. I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to leave it where it is right now. And if it's very annoying or anything, please let me know. I'm going to leave it as it is right now, and unless you guys tell me something different. So get a double play, guys. 2 of us 3. Huge discount, 3 days, all access, including all 5% plays. And the dogs are barking again in New York. Just kidding. So let's take a look at the Nationals and the Braves. So Jake Irvin, the name we haven't heard in a while, takes the mound. And Grant Holmes, a guy who has been wildly inconsistent or just not so good. And look, both of these bullpens are trash right now. I know that the Braves might have a little more talent, but right now I've got them ranked 27 in current form, and I've got the Nationals bullpen ranked 24 in current form. Neither one of these starting pitchers are trustworthy as far as I'm concerned. And we have two lineups that are top 10. So it's over or nothing in this game for me. I actually, pardon me, I did not look at what the number is. It's probably 10, though, because the bookmakers are not stupid. But I would take an over 10 in this. 10.5 might be a little rich for my blood, but if it's 9.5, I would go all in on the over. Well, not all in. You guys know what I mean. I would make a nice play on the over.
Yeah, I could definitely. That's the thing. Runs like the Nationals. This team can really still hit. They've been a top 5 team, WRC plus, all season long. No one, like, I think when you look at the Nationals, no one looks at this team and says, okay, like, we have issues with this lineup. I mean, even without Curtis Mead, of course, Curtis Mead goes to the Red Sox. I don't think the lineup skips a beat. I think that's part of the reason that they were willing to make the move. It opens up time for Brady House to play third base. And I think they look at that as like a pretty even, no drop off in the lineup right there. So it's always going to come down to pitching. Now, Jake Irvin, not really a guy I want to back. Probably the reason that you like the over here. Grant Holmes, I don't mind Holmes, but he really doesn't pitch deep in the games. You have to go all the way back, TB, to June 3rd to find Grant Holmes lasting more than 5 innings in a baseball game.
Yeah. He's not trustworthy. Mm.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's trustworthy, but he's not going deeper than 5. Like, he hasn't really had many bad outings since then. Last time out against the Orioles, 3 runs over 5 innings, couple hits. The Rangers, same things, 3 runs over 5 innings, 6 or 7 hits. Really good against the Pirates the time before that. Very good against the Mets the time before that. So for me, I really want to know what the Braves bullpen situation is going into one of his starts. And the Braves had to play a doubleheader yesterday. So, while their bullpen, I should have probably had the usage up. Usually that's Bryan's our bullpen usage guy.
They have to be taxed after a double play.
Yeah, I think they have leverage options available, but like collectively they used guys. So like I see where you're coming from with the over. And I think, I'll sort of second that. That's the only way I would play this. I'd look for runs because you're probably going to get 4 innings out of the Braves bullpen. Holmes is the guy that the Nats can probably hit anyway, because again, no one's questioning the Nationals' ability to put the ball in play and score runs. But something I caught yesterday watching that game against the Blue Jays, and this is what bothers me about the Nationals, and it's why I'm starting to gravitate away from backing them unless the market were to totally shift and make them sort of a value play again. They make a lot of mistakes. You watch them play defense. I used to coach baseball, right, for years. And there's multiple times in this week so far, watching the Nats Blue Jays series, which I watched a ton of, where a ball, I get it, like, Jacob Young or someone has had to dive for a ball. If the ball hits you in the glove, TV, I always told my kids, if the ball touches your glove, like, probably should have caught it, okay? And I think that yesterday's game, the Nats probably gave up 3 to 4 runs on plays where the ball hit the fielder's glove and it just wasn't caught. And then when you look at their bullpen and look at that, like literally one of the worst bullpens in the league, if not the worst, probably not the worst, but certainly bottom 5. Like, you can't just give away runs. And I think the Nats do too much of that. Now, where would giving away runs come into play nicely? Probably if you back the over. So Tokyo Brandon, I'm with you. I like the over here.
Adam, let me ask you, do you have any information on Jake Irvin, any rehab starts or how he's looked recently? Because I don't know anything about that. But I do know that he's not going to last long either, because generally when guys come back, they generally don't last very long. Do you have any scoop on that to help our viewers?
Yeah, we can absolutely bring that up. So Jake Irvin, I don't even remember him pitching for Rochester. He may have had a start. If he did, it sort of fell through the cracks.
Sorry to put you on the spot there. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. And I'm glad that you brought it up, because I was more so he did make 2 rehab starts. 3 rehab starts. One was in rookie ball, and the other 2 were at Double-A Harrisburg. Not a big deal. It was probably because Harrisburg was home and they didn't, Rochester might have been somewhere else.
Schedule wise, probably worked out. Yeah.
Yes. So
Travel-wise,
numbers were great in the rehab outings, but again, you have a seasoned big league veteran guy throwing against a rookie ball game and against AA hitters. It's hard to put a ton of stock in that. The thing that concerns me for Jake Irvin is I pull up his Savant page, so what he's done at the big league level earlier this year, and it's all like bottom 10%. So I think I'd lean more toward him being what he was the first 2 months of the season, not what he was in 11 innings at Harrisburg.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
And when they come back to MLB, generally, they have a short leash. I mean, they get pulled kind of early. I have a feeling Atlanta's going to whack him pretty good as well. So I don't expect either one of these starters to last long. And these bullpens are just awful right now. So over for me in this game. By the way, you guys.
I just wanted to get up my I wanted to pull up my score projection here. Because again, I probably should have. I'm glad you brought up the over. I'm at 9.96 for a projection. So if you're over 9.5, over 9.5 always terrifying to me. It's a tough number to play the over. I'd much rather be
6 to 4.
9.
Yeah,
but listen,
you need a 6 to 4. Yeah,
but my numbers are showing value. Yeah.
I would agree. Hey guys, besides a double play, you can get what's called a triple play, which means you can get 6 days for the price of 3 on any capper at WagerTalk that does baseball. So go to our capper page at wagertalk.com and check that out. I will be covering KBO live Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, and I will be covering MLB live 9 a.m. on Sunday. So check those out as well.
Yeah, TB doing the Lord's work over here. A Sunday show. Everyone else is off. He's out here grinding for 90 minutes on a Sunday. KBO show, that's a great way to those games, if you're on the East Coast here, start very early on Saturday morning. So what a great way to be prepared to kick off a full day of betting on Saturday with some 5 a.m. KBO.
Matter of fact, they just finished about a half an hour ago.
I know, and I'm glad I did. I'll tell you what, I'm glad I didn't bet KBO this morning because any opinion I had would have been incorrect. So a good pass.
I went 2-1. Samsung really let me down today, but I won the other two, so that was good.
Samsung was what would have been my target. Chris Paddock on his 17th chance as a pro, and
he was awful.
He
was terrible.
Which I won't allow the Chris Paddock slander just yet because he's actually been very good since getting over there. But he finally had a dud.
All right, they all do. It doesn't mean he's a bad pitcher, but they're all going to have especially in another country. So
yeah, he might have been due for a bad one, and it was today. I'll probably look at Samsung next time he pitches. Just
absolutely
jot that down right there. That'll go probably middle of next week. All right, Grant's dad says, thinking Marlins plus 110. I rolled up with my Marlins rally cap, Tokyo Brandon. We have the Marlins historic losing streak, 12 in a row, the longest in the history of the franchise. And what did they do? They battled back to walk it off on Monday night. Very happy about that since that was my 5% play on Monday.
Nice.
And since then, they've managed to win 2 other close games to sweep the Phillies, which really, in my opinion, saves their season. I mean, if they did not have a positive result at home in this series, you could almost kiss the playoffs goodbye if you're the Marlins. Now they win 3 straight. They've got the momentum. Grant's dad wants to know, Marlins has a dog today. They have to head up north to Citi Field. Yuri Perez, Nolan McLean, Marlins, Mets to you.
Yeah, so my numbers, I'm not going to trust my numbers on this one. My numbers are screaming at me to take the Mets here, but I'm not going to do it because I just don't trust this Mets team. They just look so bad right now, but I don't know why, but they're leading Miami in almost every measurable category here. But when you look at the pitcher head-to-head numbers, Perez has really good numbers against these Mets, but... yeah, 33 sample size is okay. So in 33 at-bats against, a 121 average against and a 376 OPS. So that's pretty amazing stuff. So are you hearing an echo? Is everything all right? Audio? Is it good? Are you all right, Adam? Okay. Anyways, Perez has great stats against these Mets. Nolan McLean has good stats against these Marlins as well. So I would look to an under here. My numbers are screaming Mets for all that's worth. So if you trust my numbers, you could take the Mets. But I don't think I'm going to take the Mets in this one. They're just not a good team right now. So I'm looking for an under in this one. I think this one will go under. Can you hear me?
TB, I just completely lost audio here. Can you just take over for a second while I fix this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, no problem. So that's how I would look at that one. Sorry, Adam can't hear right now. So what I'm going to do is maybe jump to the next game. And someone is asking for Cubs on the money line. Maybe when Adam comes back, we can get his opinion on the Miami game. But I'm going to jump to the Cubs because you're asking for it in the chat with the super chat. So we got Assad and Palante. So Assad has actually looked pretty darn good this season, and Palante has looked very average. So let me see how my numbers look in this one. So we got the Cubs, according to my rankings, I got the Cubs hitting number 2 in MLB right now, and I have the Cardinals hitting 24. Bullpen wise, give the Cubs a huge advantage as well. I got them ranked 8, while I've got the Cardinals ranked 22. So huge advantage for the Cubs here. So the next thing I want to look at, if you guys watch my Sunday MLB show, you know that I go through these numbers together with you for about an hour and a half. So the next thing I want to look at is Assad's numbers against the Cardinals, and they're pretty average. He's got a 245 average against with a 701 OPS against, which is not terrible, not good. It's just kind of blah. So how does Palante do against the Cubs in 99 at-bats against? He's got a 343 average and 955, so he's been giving a lot of runs. Cubs would be the only way I would go in this game. So I like the pitching matchup, and I like the bullpen, and I like the hitting. So Cubs would be the only way I go. So now that Adam is back, no problem. Hey, stuff happens. So why don't you go over the Miami game and the Cubs game? Because I just went over both of them.
Yeah, I can give my thoughts on these. So what just happened right there? I completely lost audio. So Tokyo Brandon's great breakdown that I'm sure was incredible. I didn't hear any of it. So if I double up on some of the thoughts on these, I apologize. I'll tell you what, like Marlins. So Marlins Mets, I guess I can kind of be quick on, and then we can focus more on Cubs Cardinals. I'm very high on this Marlins team relative to where the market is. As I talked about going into the Phillies series, I felt like you had this Marlins team that played incredible through the month of June, 20-6 or something like that in the month of June, came out hot in early July, and then loses 12 straight games. I truly believe that if that streak was like 11 of 13, like had they won one game or two games in the middle of this terrible streak, it really would have gotten glossed over because of how well they played prior to it. But because they lost 12 straight games, big pendulum swing going into the Philly series. And, you know, that all Philly series, you were able to get pretty good value if you wanted to back the Marlins. I think some of the value has dried up just a little bit after they swept, but getting Yuri Perez here against the Mets still, it still feels like there's a little value on them as an underdog. Like Tokyo Brandon said, though, I too like McLean, and my numbers are probably like tilted more Mets than most people's, just because I was higher on them coming into the season, and I'm high on McLean. So that was one where it's like, I don't think I'll have a play there. I will be rooting for the Marlins tonight hard because, of course, I've got some nice futures on them to make the playoffs. So I hope they keep winning games. But I do think your chance to really make a good bet on the Marlins was last series against the Phillies. So I will likely be a spectator in that game.
Adam, before you go to the Cubs, let me interject real quick. because I already covered the Cubs, so you can do the Cubs next. But why are your numbers and my numbers liking the Mets this much? The Mets are not a good team right now, so I can't explain it, but my numbers are saying, hey, do this, and I'm not going to follow them.
It's probably the reason every sharp bettor continues to bet the Mets, because most of us had the Mets rated so high coming into the season that it's like it's almost inconceivable for them to be where they are at this point in the year. Now, for me, in this particular game, in this particular game, it's like Nolan McLean weights into the handicap. So Nolan McLean's always been a guy that I've been super high on, right? So it's like he's factoring into my numbers as well here. And because I like McLean so much, starting pitcher is going to sort of, skew the numbers for that specific game.
Yeah.
That's why my numbers like the Mets in this spot.
But my numbers like their bullpen. My numbers like their hitting. I don't know why, though, because I don't. They're not passing the eye test.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, TB, the thing they don't pass for me, the thing where I struggle with that team is I watch them on a day-to-day basis, right? Or, as much as any, as I don't watch the Mets every single day, but I watch a lot of Mets games. I hate the body language that I've seen out of the team all year. I don't like what I'm hearing from like just the internal stuff with this team. And, you take Juan Soto out of the lineup. Yeah, they've found ways to get it done the last few days without him. But I see a lineup that has no one hitting over 800 OPS on the season. Now, maybe you'll get some, maybe Lindor goes off, right? He's certainly capable of it. Maybe some of these other guys start to play to their career numbers. But then I still look at the lineup and I'm like, is that even enough to get this team really over the hump? And my gut says no. So yeah, I'm sort of bucking my numbers each time, like, because the Mets show value for me every day, every single day. And I think it's why some of these sharp guys keep taking them as an underdog, because they're looking and saying, well, when's this big Mets run going to come? Because they're certainly good enough for it. And I just would disagree with that a little bit. So that's that's the answer to your question. Okay, let's go to this. So you already touched on Cubs Cardinals. We'll get back. We'll get back on track here. Cubs plus money. Alex Rand said Cubs plus money is intriguing, but feels trappy. This whole series has kind of felt trappy to me, if we're being honest, right? They had, I felt like they hung that Cubs game that looked too good to be true on Tuesday. And Tokyo Brandon's like, this is just simple. Like, just take the Cubs here. They're gonna light up McGreevy, and certainly they did.
Even with Rhea.
Yeah, even with Ray on the mound, it didn't matter. They lit him up, and it was an easy win for the Cubs. Last night, 0-0 game. You get into the 10th inning. Cubs take a lead, and then they can't close it out. Yesterday was the game that I kind of thought the Cubs, were in a better spot to win. So it was certainly surprising to see them take a 2-run lead and not be able to get it done. But you look at the line score yesterday, Tokyo Brandon, 3 hits all game for the Cubs. So it's not like they necessarily deserve to win that game. Now you come out here with Assad and Palante, 2 guys that, like, I'm really not dying to back either, right? Like, Assad is kind of, he's a 4A guy. He's a guy that I think, I expect to see more at Iowa making starts than for the Cubs. Now on a one-off, he can be pretty good. He's sort of like the Swiss Army knife for the Cubs, where it's like he can start games at AAA. He can come out of the bullpen. He can give you an inning of relief. He can be a bulk guy. He can make a start. I think that's why they keep him around. But he's not a guy I'm dying to back at the big league level. That being said, Palante has been much better than I ever expected him to be. Last time out, 7 scoreless against the Reds. He's way overachieved in my opinion of what I thought that he would be as a starter, because remember, Palante was kind of the Cardinals version of Assad for a while. He'd go down to AAA and start a game. He'd come out of the bullpen, and he's kind of like managed to hold down a starting spot in that rotation, but he doesn't get a ton of swing and miss. He's not going to strike a bunch of guys out. Again, it's another tricky game that I don't have a huge opinion on. I think my gut reaction to this game is he doesn't strike a ton of guys out, and the Cubs get the bats actually, like if they put some balls in play here today, they're going to score some runs because they didn't do any of that yesterday. But I don't know if I've got enough to get to the window with this one either.
I don't know how you can't like the Cubs here. I got the Cardinals ranked 24 or worse in almost everything. They pretty much got lucky to win yesterday. I think this will be more like what happened the day before yesterday, which is just a trouncing. So I don't see how you don't like the Cubs here. But, yeah, anything can happen. It's baseball.
Yeah, I'm with you. Going back to your comment from the other day, I think applies here. What of these lines, if you see Assad and you see Palante and you're like, okay, we'll call them relative equals right now. And I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying for argument's sake, let's say pitching is equal here. What of these two lineups would you rather have right now? The Cubs or the Cardinals? You said the other day that's a no-brainer. Give me the Cubs. Give me this 1 through 9 over the Cardinals any day. I agree with you on that. So yeah, I'm with you on the Cubs here as well. All right. I think we're here 6 days a week. We're just sometimes you don't have your best stuff. You got to go out there and battle through it. I think we've battled through some technical difficulties here. We've also battled through 3 games that I don't think, we found 3 games that I don't have personally huge opinions on. So we got to find some picks for the people. I'll go to Stoke here. I got to pick. This one may be my parlay leg. So let's talk about this one. Stoke says, any thoughts on the Twins winning today? Was pretty surprised they didn't win yesterday. Got to be honest. That was one of the more shocking results for me yesterday, Tokyo Brandon, was that the Twins, as close to a $2 favorite, just straight up no-showed against the Royals yesterday. I thought that was a spot that Joe Ryan would bounce back. I thought that was a hammer spot, if you will, for the Twins. Thankfully, they were a $2 favorite, and I just passed on them. But they weren't even close. They got shut out.
Yeah.
4-0.
Yeah.
So
sometimes the number that the book lays saves us from misery.
Well, that is a perfect example of the books putting out a number that I just could not find any sort of way to bet the Twins, and it saved me from some misery for sure, because I would have at a far cheaper price, I would have been all over the Twins yesterday. Now we get Twins Royals, and we do get that cheaper price, and I kind of want to be on the Twins here. So, Twins Royals, are you going to talk me into or off of the Twins?
So, guys, I just surpassed plus 102 units on the season. Do you know what that means? Any capper who goes 100 means that they've doubled the bankroll on the calendar year. So, I have just doubled the bankroll on the calendar year since January 1st. So, yay, let's have a party. We'll have a party Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Join me. So, here we go. We got Noah Cameron going against Bailey Ober. I don't know if Noah Cameron's ready for this start because they didn't actually originally schedule him for it. He was just kind of slotted in later. And Noah Cameron's a guy I was really high on last season, but this season he's very much disappointed me. I mean, he's not pitching to satisfy me by any means, but he's been a disappointment. Let's just put it that way. Anytime you got a 4.9 ERA with a 1.4 WHIP, it's not really good. And he looked really electric last year, and he just doesn't look electric this year. So, but against these Twins, he's got pretty good numbers, a 203 average against with a 477 OPS, which is about 300 points lower than what I consider the Mendoza line. And Ober's a guy who actually, I think I like Ober more than other people do. His ERA is very similar to Cameron, but his WHIP is down, which means he's giving up runs without putting guys on base, which means he's probably giving a few long balls here and there. But Kansas City is not exactly a team that hits a lot of long balls. So I think an under would be in place here. Neither team's hitting well right now. I got them both ranked 21 in batting out of 30 teams, and bullpens so-so for the Royals, not so-so for the Twins. Twins bullpen is struggling a little bit, but I like how both pitchers match up against the hitters that they're facing, and I don't see either one of these teams scoring a whole heck of a lot of runs. So it'd be under or nothing for me in this one.
Yeah, I really like the Twins here. Royals, are you talk about teams that tend to take money as underdogs, like just almost on a daily basis. The Mets are one of
Yeah.
those teams we just talked about them. Whenever they're a dog, they pretty much get hit by the market and or the market gets hit and it'll move a little bit. The Royals have been another one of late. For the last couple of weeks, pretty much any like Royals as a dog has gotten hit often. And I'm hoping that happens today because this is like right on the fringe of a number that I feel like I can play with the Twins. It will be my parlay leg because I'm not really worried about the price as much for the parlay. So I think what we're looking at right now is probably Twins minus 140. I think you can get as low as minus 136, probably as high as minus 145. So I'm going to call this Twins minus 140. I'll go back to your point that you made. Yeah, Noah Cameron, big time sophomore slump. I think we forecasted that on this show. I believe that's something I talked about back in March. That
you did. I didn't expect it, but yes, you did. You did. You called it.
Well, and I'll just go back to that because you and I both liked Cameron last year, and he was awesome, right? Cameron gets called up from AAA, has a tremendous season in his first year in the big leagues. He made 24 appearances, most of them starts, 138 and a third innings, and a 110 whip, like 2.99 ERA. Phenomenal numbers. I mean, that's a full season. You get 138 innings. That's a full year at the big league level. And Noah Cameron, great first season. The reason I thought that wouldn't happen again this year is I've watched a lot of him. I've watched a lot of him at AAA, and just his stuff looks kind of hittable. I would watch him pitch. I'd be like, how are big leaguers not hitting this guy? Right? Like how are, this should be like most of his pitches grade out as pretty average. And so I said, I think the league is going to figure him out a little bit this year. And that's exactly what's happened. If you look at his baseball savant page, it's all blue. There's not one single category really that he is, better than average in. A bottom 20% expected ERA, bottom 15% expected batting average. He throws a 92 mile an hour fastball. So that's the thing for me. If you're only throwing 92 and you don't have some really other very, very good pitches, like for him, it's four-seamer, fastball, changeup, curveball, and none of them are elite. That is the type of guy that typically the longer you stay in the big leagues starts to get knocked around. And that's exactly what's happened this year. So, Bailey Ober, I don't mind Bailey Ober as much.
Nobody likes him.
Well, here's the thing, Tokyo Brandon. No one likes him because people are so enamored today. But in this day and age, people are so enamored with like stuff and nasty movement and being able to throw 100. And Bailey Ober throws 88 miles an hour. Like this guy will not throw a pitch that touches 90. But here's a perfect example. Like Noah Cameron's throwing 92, but he doesn't have 5 really good big league pitches. Right. Bailey Ober throws 88, but he's got 5 pitches that he can mix in and that are pretty competitive that keep hitters off balance. His hard hit rate this year is like top 15% in the league, meaning he doesn't give up much hard contact. Why is that? Because he's mixing in 5 competitive big league pitches. So to me, Bailey Ober's the far superior starting pitcher here. And then it's like the Twins, the bullpen's been an issue a little bit, but they lost 4-0 yesterday, and most of the guys that they would want to use at the back end of the game are available. So I really do like the Twins here. I'm considering it for clients, and this will be my leg of the parlay. Sorry, TB, I was a little long-winded there. Go ahead.
No, but I want to make a quick point. As a former scout and everything, like having good stuff is one thing, but you have to be able to use that stuff. And I'm not saying Bailey Ober reminds me of Yu Darvish, but Yu Darvish, that kind of pitcher as well. When he came to America from Japan, he had like 8 pitches, right? And he wasn't really throwing. Well, actually, the difference between Ober and Darvish is Darvish was throwing 100, almost close to 100 miles an hour. But the way that you use your pitch, so you have to be mentally good at using your stuff. You can't just be talented. It's not good enough. So you want to just go out there and throw heat. You could be like Hideki Irabu, right? You're going to get torched. But you have to be able to use your pitches properly. And that's what he's doing. I think he's a good, smart pitcher. He's not throwing the ball. He's pitching. So that's why I like him and nobody else likes him.
Well, yeah, and
Look
I
at
think
Greg Maddux, a poor man's Greg Maddux, I guess. I don't know.
listen, he's 31 years old. He's been around the game for a long time. He's been in the league for a long time. He has completely accepted the fact that he is not going to throw the ball by big league hitters. He's not out there trying to strike guys out. He goes into it at bat and he says, I can't walk guys because I know I'm going to allow the other team to put the ball in play. And that's, he's one of these guys that he's not trying to strike guys out. He's allowing the other team to put the ball in play. He knows he can't give up free base runners. And fortunately for him, he plays in a ballpark that is forgiving to fly balls because he a lot of his pitches are elevated. Like guys are able to hit the ball in the air. Target Field's not an easy park to hit the ball out of. It's a perfect fit for him. And I think the Twins are a very good play today.
If he played in Sacramento, he might be in trouble.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Coors Field, he's not the guy you want in one of these bandboxes or at altitude. But at Target
the
Field,
A's will probably not be trying to acquire him. Good point.
We got some. So yeah, the Tigers fan. Sean, I saw you. Great call on Max Clark being called up. I thought that was a little bit overdue. He's been playing well in the minors for a while now. And so yeah, the Tigers called up one of their top prospects. We're not going to talk about it today because the Tigers don't play today, and that's not going to make us any money today. We'll address it tomorrow. But the chat wants to talk about the early game. And David Edgington says, any ideas on Tampa Bay? So there's a bunch of early games today, but the earliest game, Tokyo Brandon, is Rangers-Rays. Rays was my parlay leg yesterday. It cashed. I think you had a bet on the Rays for clients.
I did. On the money line, I had a 4%. Yes.
I was kicking myself because I was like, it was one of those ones where I guess, to be fair, I also passed on the Yankees. So I guess whatever. They ended up choking that game away. But yeah, Rays we hashed it out on the show. It was a great spot for them, and they got it done pretty easily. So Rangers, Rays, back to you. Do you like the Rays just as much today, or are you going the other way?
So I wish you would go first on this one because you know more about this Win guy than me. So why don't you break him down? Because to me, he's an X factor.
Yeah,
and then
I'll go
my
first.
parlay leg is going to be in a game we haven't covered. So give me a chance at the end as well to cover that.
Yeah, we got it. We're going to do another game after this anyway, so we'll do whatever game you want to do next. But
good.
Yeah, so Cole Winn is he's a guy that I prefer out of the bullpen. And so the first thing I'll look at here is, he is a bullpen guy, and I don't expect the Rangers to try to get more than an inning or two out of him here. Last time he pitched more than an inning, July 10th against Houston, 1 1/3. The time before that, July 5th against the Tigers, 2 innings. So I think you're looking at 2 innings tops from Cole Winn. So I will say this, like for him specifically, he hasn't been as good this year as he was last year and as he was in Round Rock. I actually thought I wouldn't be surprised if you see Winn pitch today and then maybe get sent down because the Rangers just traded for Chase Silseth yesterday from the Angels organization. So they're going to need to free up a spot in the bullpen. So here's the problem, though. And this is where I think I would want no part of the Rangers. I'm pretty sure that Marco Gonzalez is the guy they're calling up to pitch in bulk today. So it's that Marco Gonzalez from like a decade ago. Guy used to be on the Mariners. You'd have to go back to God. I don't know I can't remember the last time he was good, Tokyo Brandon. It's been a while. But he is he's a journeyman MLB guy that's been in the minors for a while, that's bounced around from a couple different organizations. He has since landed in Texas. He's been at Round Rock. Former first round pick. You have to go all the way back to 2013 when he was a first rounder. He is now 34 years old. He's one of these guys. I would have guessed he was 40. Feels like he's been around forever. At the minor league level this year, he's, for the most part, kind of been crushed. So 8.16 whip and a 1.95, or I'm sorry, 8.16 ERA, a 1.95 whip. If this is who the Rangers plan to run out there after Cole Winn, I want no part of the Rangers here. I don't know if I definitely want to run it back with the Rays, but McClanahan's not a bad option, and the Rays are money at home. So, yeah, I think it's Rays or nothing for me. I cannot put a dime on Marco Gonzalez in the year 2026.
Sounds good. I kind of agree with you. McClanahan is a good pitcher. I think his name is a little better than his actual results, but still he's above average. So I think he can handle it. The thing is, both of these lineups are hitting quite well right now. I got the Rangers hitting 4 and I got the Rays hitting 9. Rays bullpen much better. So if what you say is true, Rangers are probably going to be starting to get in trouble around the 4th or 5th inning, where the Rays will probably have a little more of a nail down guy in McClanahan. Probably won't be getting into too much trouble in this game because their bullpen is much better than the Rangers. So that's one thing you got to look for, is like when a team like the Rangers are starting guys who you know are not going to go deep. Look, I mean, it's baseball. Anything could happen. This guy could come out and pitch 6 shutout innings. We don't know, but the likelihood, we have to bet on probability, and it's probability. The probability says he probably is not going to go out there and pitch 6 innings. And like Adam said, the guy backing him up is probably not going to go deep either, and it's probably not even major league level. So I take the better bullpen in this situation over the better lineup, because I think Texas's lineup is actually a little bit better. I'll take the better bullpen in this one, so I could not argue against taking the Rays in this one.
I'm going to throw one other pick for this game out here. I like the over. You saying what you said about McClanahan, kind of, I agree with it. It sparked a thought in my head. I went and looked at my projections. I'm at 8.1 runs here. Here's the thing. I think you're going to get 1 to 2 innings out of Wynn. I think you're going to get probably 3 innings tops out of Gonzalez. I wish he would stay in the whole game, because the longer he stays in, the more likely it is that the Rays are going to put a crooked number on him. And then the Rangers, now they have good bullpen arms. They will piece together the bullpen. That's one thing about the Rangers. There's plenty of good arms down in that bullpen, but still, you're going to probably go 1 to 2 from Wynn, probably 3 from Gonzalez, and then a few bullpen arms. Does that equate an ace? Because here's the thing: 7.5 usually implies that like someone's got an ace on the mound. That certainly doesn't add up to a quote unquote ace spot for the Rangers. McClanahan's got the name, but like you said, TB, sometimes I do think his name gets a little inflated. And the Rangers are a scrappy team that can, they've got some good right-handed bats. I think they can score some runs today. So I'll call it over 7.5. I think this is going to be I think you're going to be surprised at how high scoring this game is. I feel like there's a rare offensive outburst at the Trop today. So I'll call it over 7.5.
Rare offensive outburst. Sounds good. Sounds good. Can we go to my parlay leg, and then maybe we can fit a game after that, perhaps? Is
absolutely. Right? Russell Dex asked first 5 over. Yeah, I don't mind first 5 over in that Rays Rangers game either. Tokyo Brandon, you have the floor. What are we locking in for your parlay leg?
Okay, so there's 2 options, guys. You can get a double play, which is 2 of us 3 for 3 days, all access. Or you can get, if you only like 1 of us 3, you can get a triple play, which is basically 6 days for the price of 3, if my math is correct. So a lot of deals to go on at WagerTalk.com, and Adam and I are vying for second place among 33 cappers, and Bryan is number 1 or number 2 the last 30 days. So you can't really go wrong no matter who you choose. So go to WagerTalk.com and grab that. So I'm going to go to the Athletics Boston game today as my parlay leg, and I'm going to take the Red Sox because they were just scorching hot, cooling off a little bit, but still, their bullpen is still playing excellent ball. Got them ranked 5th, where the Athletics bullpen is just a tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a burning pile of garbage, basically. And I like Sonny Gray here. I like him in this spot. He had a terrible start his last outing. I think he bounces back. Good pitchers like this, good veteran pitches, you rarely see them have 2 atrocities in a row. So maybe his last start wasn't quite an atrocity, but it wasn't good by his standards for sure. I don't see veterans like Sonny Gray having 2 bad games in a row, and the A's are trotting out someone who I certainly do not trust in Barnett. So give me the Red Sox with that excellent bullpen and a bona fide starter and a lineup that's actually hitting quite well, even though they've cooled off a little bit. So Boston Red Sox, I think it's -175. That's going to be my parlay leg.
Yeah, tough break for the A's yesterday. Nick Kurtz gets hit on the forearm. X-rays came back unclear. That's never something you want to hear. You go in for, you got a guy, your best player, one of the best hitters in the sport right now, has X-rays and they come back unclear. That is like code for I'm not going to be in the lineup tonight. Usually,
yeah.
And then you talk about where the A's are in the standings. The A's will be playing out the string, if you will. They are not competing for anything of note the rest of the year. So I do not think you will see Nick Kurtz out there for the 45 and 63 A's tonight. And that is a massive, massive blow to an A's team that isn't really any good in the first place. Tokyo Brandon, I picked my spot correctly with the A's in this series. I played them in the first game with Gage Jump on the mound. I pretty much told myself, you pick the right spot. The Red Sox will likely, have success the rest of the series. They squeaked out a game in extras last night, maybe to get some of the juice back, that they lost with, of course, losing that first game, Meade going down with the injury. I think that extra innings win last night is a good momentum builder for the Red Sox. And I agree with you. Mason Barnett, not someone I'm really, really overly concerned playing against. He never really climbed my AAA ratings. I felt like this guy struggled at AAA for most of his time at AAA. And the A's are just going to do the square peg into the round hole thing where it's like, we have no pitching. Let's just throw him at the big league level and see what happens. Tends to not work out well for the A's. They've done this a few times. And, usually it ends up with a guy getting blown up at some point. Just ask like a Jacob Lopez or, some of these other guys that the A's are like, well, we really have no one else. So let's run them out there in a big league game. That's kind of what I feel like Barnett is. So TB, I don't mind it at all. I do think the Red Sox win this game today. And we're trying to hit a 2-teamer. We're just trying to get a win on this parlay. So a couple favorites, combine them here, Red Sox and Twins for us. And I think we have a winning parlay. So I like that call from you.
Yeah, people can't complain about a -175 of one leg of a parlay. Come on.
Russ, and the thing we should mention, which in this game, of course, it's Sonny Gray. I bet against Sonny Gray in his last start. I got a win with the Blue Jays. He really had one. He wasn't that bad though. Like he had one bad inning. Right. That's the thing. Like, and here's the thing in that specific game, because being on the other side, I watched every pitch and I like the Blue Jays. All of those runs came with 2 outs. And there was a situation where I can't remember if it was a hit by pitch, but like he was like a couple inches away from getting out of that inning. And it turned into a 5-run inning because it was like base runner, base hit, and then a 3-run homer from Springer. That's all he gave up. And it literally was an inch or 2 away. I can't remember if it was like a pop-up foul ball, but they were so close to getting out of that inning with nothing. And then the Jays ended up getting 5 runs. It's really all he gave up in his last start. Sonny Gray's been very good. Yeah, TB, I think you found a pretty big mismatch in this one. So I like your call on the Red Sox here.
I think we have time for more.
Yeah, we can't. I'm going to get yelled at if I make a habit of going like way over the time for the show. I know I'm going to get yelled at, but since it's just the two of us today, well, here's what we had technical difficulties during our breakdowns of a couple earlier games. Yeah. So yeah, we got to give the people one more. Let's go one more, and we'll close it out at 55 minutes. So we'll keep everyone happy. Fair enough. All right, let's see. Going here. Let's see. I'm just going to go into the chat. We've done about half the games on. Okay. I got one at random, and it's we should talk about this game because this was just I couldn't believe what I was watching last night. Tokyo Brandon, the Yankees had a 4-0 lead. Cam Schlittler was excellent. Well, here's the thing. Like, I actually didn't tune in until the debacle at the end of the game. I actually didn't because I was watching AAA baseball last night on multiple
Ooh.
screens. So Cam Schlittler doing his thing, right? It was actually
Yep.
an uninteresting game for the first 7 innings. You had a Spencer Jones home run to put the Yankees up. Nothing happened for like 7 innings. Cam Schlittler was probably taken out too early. And then the White Sox rallied off a tired Yankees bullpen to tie the game. What happened in extras, though, was mind-blowing. The Yankees had a 5-4 win. They were 1 out away from winning the game. And I think it's Ali Sanchez or whoever they had catching, threw the ball in the left field, tried to pick a guy off third base, fires the ball in the left field. The White Sox base runner just walks home, ties the game, and the White Sox end up walking it off. Sort of an inexplicable way to lose a game. If you're I just felt like they handed that game to the White Sox. Now these two teams have to play a day game. The Yankees bullpen is still very fatigued because they had to go deep into the game for extras last night. I don't know. I feel like they handed the White Sox the momentum in this series because I don't think that's a game the White Sox should have won. So Brian Weather,
Sure.
Sean Burke, how are you seeing White Sox Yankees?
So my first impression was I don't like Sean Burke, and then I look at my numbers, and my numbers do like him. So today I'm getting a lot of like weird vibes. I've told people in the past the way I do it is I look over the games and get kind of a feeling, and then I check my numbers to see if my feeling is confirmed or not. And this is just the opposite of what I was thinking. I was thinking Burke's not doing well. And then I pull it up, boom, I got him ranked 9 on a curve of 30. So he's in the top 1/3 of MLB pitchers. Then I look up Weathers, who I thought was doing pretty good in his last few starts, and boom, he's ranked 15. So he's extremely mediocre. Yankees have a slight bullpen advantage, but I don't think that makes up for the hitting advantage that the White Sox have. White Sox are hitting a little bit better than the Yankees in current form, and Burke is not walking anyone. His walks to strikeout ratio is only 19%, and I find 30 to 40 acceptable. So Weathers is not really walking anyone either, but his ERA is a little high. Probably means that he's giving up a lot of long contact. But he's not walking people. He's not putting on people on base and not paying for it too much. So I don't know. Under might be a decent play here. Let me see. Like you said yesterday, though, this one was kind of a crazy one. So there's emotional issues to consider as well. The Yankees get a gut punch. The White Sox get a little euphoria. So does that reverse itself today? I think an under would be in play because I was expecting an under yesterday with Davis Martin and Cam Schlittler, and it went way over. I think it's going to go under today. So if I were to bet this game, I would bet under.
Yeah, that would have been that's kind of a tough beat if you had the under yesterday, because really the game played out as an under should play out. It's 4-0 late. You think that the Yankees can see a game like that out. I'll tell you what, and yesterday we talked about this Yankees team, and I said, they really should be power rated number 1 in the American League. And I still believe that to be the case, but I'm looking over the Yankees lineup yesterday. And nice to see Spencer Jones getting a chance, and he hit the bomb, and he's a guy that has had such great numbers at AAA, but has struggled to get regular time at the big league level. I start to look at this lineup. Obviously, no Aaron Judge; he's been out for a while. Now you take Cody Bellinger out of the lineup. Suddenly, this doesn't really look like the best team anymore. You take those 2 bats out. Obviously, Stanton has been out forever. I'm looking over this lineup, and you're like, okay, Grisham, Dominguez, Goldschmidt, Jones, Jazz, Ryan McMahon, Caballero, and Wells are one, that's 7, 8, 9. I think short term, I'm going to be trying to play against the Yankees until they get a little bit healthier, or I guess until some of these other guys get hot. Because as much as I love Ben Rice, he can't just be a one-man show. And I just don't really trust the rest of that Yankees lineup right now. Whereas they just handed the White Sox all this momentum. That was the thing. The White Sox, they lost the juice. They lost the aura that they had the first 3 months of the year. And I felt like they really were starting to spin their wheels. And then to get a win in a game like that where you really should have lost, And now you have Sean Burke, who I do feel is the better of these two starters. Sean Burke has actually quietly had a very nice season. Expected numbers look great.
Me.
Top 20 in strikeout percentage. Isn't really getting hit hard. He's got a 1.12 whip on the season, a 3.19 ERA. I actually really like the White Sox here. This is one I've got to, this is one I'm going to be considering for clients today. I feel like this is a great spot for them as well.
Kind of agree. And the Yankees have Blackburn and Yarborough in their bullpen. What is this, 2012? Holy cow. Blackburn was for the Athletics and Yarborough was for the Rays like in 2012. What's going on?
Corey, listen, yeah, why not? You look at if the Yankees lineup, which I assume it does, if the Yankees lineup today looks anything like it does yesterday, I would play the Sean Burke strikeouts over. That was not a good lineup that they rolled out there yesterday. And Spencer Jones, I love the guy, right? He's an electric, like this dude is just like an old school power hitter. Guy was just hitting bombs at AAA for like over a year. But the reason he has not stuck at the big league level is way too much swing and miss. So you get a guy like Spencer Jones in the lineup. Yeah, he could hit the 3-run bomb like yesterday, but he might be good for 2 strikeouts on his own. So I don't mind. I don't mind that one bit. I actually very much like the White Sox in this spot.
I'm projecting 7.2 strikeouts, so my numbers would agree with that, but I wouldn't go too big on it. But yeah, might be a decent.
Yeah, if you're getting an over 6 and TV's got a 7.2 projection, I think that's a great. If you like props, that's as good as it gets right there for a strikeout prop, in my opinion. Rarely
is a strikeout like more than 1 off the number. It doesn't happen a lot. So,
all right, I missed this, but listen. If your boots are going to be on the ground at a game, I'm going to make sure we touch on it.
We got to cover it
real quick. Dodgers Mariners to you, Bryan Hatt going to the game tonight. Do you see anything in this one?
So Dodgers are always dangerous play because they don't. I know it sounds weird to say that they don't care, but basically they're riding out the season and they're more concerned about not getting hurt than they are about winning a game because they know they're going to make the playoffs. They know they're going to win the division. Wu has been very bad this season, and Sasaki's been better than I expected. But saying Wu has been bad, he's still ranked 11 on a curve of 30, so it's not that bad, but for his standard, like a year ago, 2 years ago, he was like the best third starter in Major League Baseball, period. But he's tailed off a little bit, and he's not a good road pitcher. That's the thing about Wu is on the road, he's 7-7 overall, but on the road, he's actually a little worse than he is at home. Sasaki, it's got a really beefy 4.71 ERA, but actually, that's because in the early season, he was getting bombed. He was actually crying in the dugout. He was getting bombed so bad, but he's had like 2 or 3 good starts. I think he's on an upward trajectory. So I think it would be Dodgers or nothing for me, but I am not betting this game because I refuse to bet Seattle Mariners games because they always screw me. So, but I don't really like Wu as much as I used to. So woo-hoo-hoo, Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, I'll be quick at this one. I don't really care for the Mariners as much as I used to either. They were a team that, believe it or not, hate that I have to come on here and say this. Coming into the year, that was my number 1 power rated team in the American League. I've just been very much been wrong about them. I kind of feel like the spot to play the Mariners in this series was that first game, and they got the win. The Dodgers, I think Bryan Leonard has pointed this out a couple times. So good off a loss that it kind of makes sense that they bounced back last night. And now, like Roki, he's a guy that I've looked to fade at times, but he's been throwing the ball harder. He looks like he's getting some confidence. Like Tokyo Brandon said, Tokyo Brandon is not exaggerating. Like there was times where he was tearing up in the dugout, like literally in tears.
Twice.
And he's not a guy that I don't think he's got like the most mental toughness here. And so when things are going bad for him, he's someone I would prefer to fade. But when things are going good for him, the talent starts to shine through. The reason that he was so coveted by Major League Baseball starts to shine through. So yeah, I don't know that I'm dying to bet against Roki Sasaki right now when things are kind of starting to go well for him.
Give me 5 seconds. I know we're over time, but in game betting, if Sasaki has a good first inning, you might want to jump on him because he's one of those guys where when things go bad, it avalanches, but when things go good, he's feeling it. So just a word of advice.
It's a great point because, I'll use that Yankee game for an example. He came out, he was throwing harder than he's thrown all year, 5 2/3 of 1-run ball. And then last time out against the Mets, same thing. Got off to a good start. He comes out, he's throwing the ball, his stuff looks great. He goes 7 innings of 1-run ball with 9 strikeouts. So TV, that's and don't even if you were to give up an early run, like just look at the stuff, look at the strikeouts, see if he's getting swing and miss. In that Mets game, I think he gave up a solo homer early in like the second inning and then gave up nothing the rest of the game. Where I would be concerned is if he's putting guys on base, if he's walking guys, if he walks back to the dugout hanging his head, because he's done that a number of times. Yeah, that's probably the bad Roki start. Go ahead.
Very good point. Look at his body language because he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's not like a typical Japanese guy like Ohtani. You don't know what Ohtani's thinking. Although recently he's been getting mad at rushing, but if Sasaki is like if his shoulders are down, if he's pouting, bet against him. And if he looks confident, bet with him. Because he's still a young guy. I think he's 20. He's very young. So he wears his emotions on his sleeve. Look at his body language.
Yeah, and listen, like someone said, well, you're not going to get value betting in game, but you know what? You're really not going to get value on the Dodgers betting them pregame either. So this is a scenario where you're going to probably get more. Like, let's say the Mariners squeak out an early run and it's 1-0. Well, then you're going to get value on the Dodgers. Let's say the first 2 innings go by and it's a 0-0 game. Well, you're probably going to get a little bit more money line value on the Dodgers than you would have betting them pre-flop. And this game is also on national TV tonight. MLB Network, I believe the entire country is getting it. So you should have no problem getting a good look at the Roki body language because that's a national TV.
You guys can keep your value. I'll just cash my bet.
That's what TV's like. Listen, if I know I've got a winner, I don't care.
You keep your value. I'll keep my money.
Listen, TB, I think we're going to be keeping some money on this parlay today. It's very simple. We've got 2-team money line parlay, Twins full game money line, Red Sox full game money line. That's it. Minus 140 on the Twins, minus 175 on the Red Sox. Combine those, it's plus money. And I think we've got a winner right there. If you want other winners, Tokyo Brandon and I, all of our plays will be up on our respective WagerTalk pages. And if you want both of what we're going to play today, tomorrow, and the next day, there's that triple play. And Bryan Leonard, too. Let's not leave him out. Any of the 2 of the 3 of us, he just cashed his 5% yesterday. So he's on a great run. He's been red hot. Double play package. Myself, TB, myself, Bryan Leonard, Tokyo Brandon, Bryan Leonard, any combination of the 2 of the 3 of us at a very heavily discounted rate. That's your show today. I know we're going to get yelled at for going longer, but you know what? You can't leave the 2 of us alone unsupervised. That's what's going to happen a little bit.
Phone is ringing.
We will be back tomorrow for another Total Basis, 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you guys then.